Brazos Valley Cares made such a donation on my behalf, bigger than anybody ever has for any veteran.
Brazos Valley Cares is an organization that you can turn to if you know of any veteran that has a need or wants to be engaged in the community.
I was in jail for 5 weeks and I cleaned up. So it was kind of like a sense of relief to go in there because I knew I'd be able to get that separation away from it and put God back in my life, keep Him first. They helped me get into a hotel, and then Brazos Valley Cares, you know, they floated the bill. It allowed me to get to work and get established and take care of things and latch on to the Veterans Administration and allow them to help me, you know, and just help keep me off the streets.
Their mission is to serve veterans and their families in the Brazos Valley. And I think that means in any way they can.
My name is Rachel Altman, and I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I did 10 years in the Marine Corps and the U.S. National Guard as well. I have a service dog because I was deployed after 9/11 and didn't sit well with me, and I struggle with PTSD symptoms, and Boudreaux eases that quite a bit. Transition to civilian life was pretty difficult. However, being in the Brazos Valley, it was probably the first time I'd ever felt like I was home. It was a very accepting community for military veterans, and I moved around so much in the military as well as when I was a military brat that we didn't stay in one place very long. And so I've been in the Brazos Valley for about 17 years now, and it's home. When Boudreaux was diagnosed with cancer, I was just overwhelmed. I was terrified that it would be inoperable. You could have bought a used Honda Civic with what it would have cost me. I was just begging with my heart to everyone that would listen, and we had loads of private donors that we are also super thankful for and super blessed with. But the bulk of the funds came from the Valor Fund at A&M, American Legion, and Brazos Valley Cares.
There are literally hundreds of thousands of veterans suffering from PTSD today. When you don't get treatment, some of them end up taking their lives.
Airborne manifest call.
Some of them become homeless because they just can't live with it anymore.
I never knew his story until after he died. The day we got the power turned on, I went to go flip the main breaker, which is outside, and that's where Mr. Owl used to always sleep. And so I always assumed he was sleeping. I didn't really see his chest rise or fall. So, I called out to him and said, "Hey, Mr. Owl," he didn't answer. Said it again, he didn't answer, and then I went to go check his pulse. Hillier Funeral Home called me and said, "Did you know that he was a veteran?" And I said, "No, I did not." Turns out not only was he a veteran of Vietnam, he was a lawyer, and he developed some mental illnesses where he couldn't stand to be indoors, and that's why he chose to live outside. So he really wasn't homeless, but everyone assumed he was. First, I felt a little bit more remorse that, he apparently didn't have any family and nobody's gonna be at his funeral, so I invited everyone I could to his funeral, and then I guess it just caught traction, and then the right people got a hold of it.
I've never seen anything like this community. Brazos Valley is totally unique.
There were hundreds of people there, and whereas opposed to he was gonna have nobody. And there was, full military burial. There was all these bikers that came in for it. They did a flyover for it. I mean, it was awesome. Yeah, I just wish he could have lived his life the way he ended it. you know.
It is very hard for veterans to say, I need help.
I've been out 20 years now, and I just now got enrolled in my veterans health benefits and applying for my disability just because there were so many other vets that were disabled and couldn't get around, and I was still a young working man, you know, hard worker, and just didn't feel like I should have been priority.
Sometimes you think that all this outpouring of love, sometimes as a veteran it's hard to accept that you don't necessarily deserve that love.
For them to take something away from somebody else is how they see it. If I take that resource, if I allow you to help me, you could have been helping somebody else that might need it more. They don't see that they're the one that needs it more.
The feeling of getting that help, it can be overwhelming.
Typically, it's when their children are involved that they finally will say, please help me.
I still haven't seen them in over a year. They live here in this town, but I know that God is going to open the door. They'll be back in my life soon.
It's the community that made Brazos Valley Cares what it is. It's the community that supports it. It's the community that makes the difference. And that's why I do it, and that's why I always will.
Without them and without God, I'd probably be homeless right now.
I have every intention that I will do whatever I can for Brazos Valley Cares in the future. It's a permanent fixture for me.